Adil, Ma'moon, and Muhammad. And for our planned research, we're going to talk about the descriptive statistic analysis, historical analysis, hypothesis test, and we'll be performing correlation of one variable between two countries. For the descriptive statistical analysis, as you can see in the graph, there's a significant decrease from 1992 till 1998 for both the two variables. Then there's an increase from 1998 till 2007. Then after this, there's a decrease from 2007 to 2008, and this this main reason will be discussed in the historical analysis. So our hypothesis is to check that our two variables are highly correlated. That we will see that in the regression line analysis. Now for statistical analysis, as you can see, the standard error is really low compared to the mean value, meaning that the mean values are highly reliable. And for the kurtosis, the kurtosis is really small, meaning that the sample size is quite consistent. And now we performed we calculated the regression line for the two variables, and we find that that R is really high and is equal to 0.9, which means that the correlation between the two variables is really strong, which validates our initial hypothesis. Finally, we performed means per period to analyze the evolution that will be discussed in historical analysis. However, it's important to keep in mind the predominance of Russia in the world oil market, and that the energy and CO2 usage globally increased over the period.
Now for the historical analysis, we divided the periods, the time range over 3 periods. From 1992 to 1998, we can see that the world started noticing the importance of global warming, and during this period, after the Russian Federation broke down into what we know today Russia, they artificially priced oil, the price of oil leading to a big decrease during the past 6 years. The last important point is that generating electricity during this period was mainly done by natural gas, which represented 40%, and oil had only 9.2% for the generating electricity percentage. From 1998 to 2008, we noticed an increase of oil use due to the industry development of that period. Putin was elected in 2000 and nationalized oil companies in the country, which led to a competition and an increase between the national oil companies. Then the political and the economic competition that started and took importance during this period with the United States gave meaning to this increase, and the industry started growing and growing more and more. From 2008 to 2014, we can see in the small gap between 2008 and 2009 that the kilogram of oil used quickly decreased. This is due to the financial world crisis caused by the subprime crisis of 2008. After 2009, Russia entered into geopolitical problems, and Europe countries and other Europe countries stopped trusting Russia for trade, and causing a trade decrease in the country. Finally, between 2012 and 2014, we saw in the graphs that the oil use and as well the CO2 emissions, the number fall down because of the world oil prices that decreased during this period. Now for the hypothesis test analysis, we're gonna see if we're gonna refute or accept the null hypothesis, and see if our numbers, our variable are statistically significant, or is the difference statistically significant or no. For this, we're going to perform a frequency table, histograms, and the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. For the frequency table, we can see that the numbers are really different between both tables for energy use and carbon dioxide emissions. We can expect maybe different histograms and see what can be the distribution. Now that we have the histograms, we can say that the shape is really different from one variable to the other, which says that maybe the frequency is different and that we are in a normal distribution situation. When we perform the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test or the KS test, we saw, based on the calculations that we get from Excel, the difference. We perform the difference between the frequencies. The maximum difference in each range is 0.22, and then when we enter the data in the equation to have the critical difference, we get a value of 0.28. So the value of 0.28 is higher than 0.22. So the maximum difference is bigger than the critical difference. So we are in the case of normal distribution, and there is no significant difference between the two variables. So performing the frequency table, the histograms, and the KS test, we checked our hypothesis, our initial hypothesis, that there is correlation and that we are in a normal distribution situation.
So to add value to our research, which shows US for the famous economical financial competition there is between these two countries. After performing the graph presenting the energy use kilogram of oil per capita between 1992 to 2014, we can see overall the US uses more oil than Russia. Then we can suppose an intermediate coefficient of determination, because there are no clear correlation between the two variables. So to make sure about the hypothesis, we perform a NOVA test using an alpha value of 0.05. We can see that p-value is less than alpha and f is greater than f critical, so we reject the null hypothesis, meaning the difference between the two countries is statistically significant. The result is evidently expected, as a set of data comes from different populations and countries.
To conclude, we saw, thanks to the descriptive statistical analysis and KS test, that our two variables follow a normal distribution. Finally, when we compared means and variances with US, we found out that the difference between both countries is statistically significant.